Hello again. Welcome back. Day 14 of the challenge. I've heard from many of you, and it sounds like things are going well for the most part. I've gotten feedback on the content, and it sounds like we're all kind of in the same boat with liking some flow, but not flowing every day, especially those of us that suffer with the wrists and other issues with those flow sequences. But today we are going to do a flow, which I am calling friendly flow. So we're not going to do the standing up version of the sun salutations, but we are going to move fluidly, mostly keeping it low to the floor. So hopefully you find it friendly. I have suggested before that you play music in the background, but I did hear back from someone that she tried that and it was a little difficult to hear me. So I understand if you need to kind of balance the audio going on. But it can be nice to put music on, especially when you're flowing, to kind of get you in the mood and inspire your practice. And so if you have something soft you can put on and still be able to hear my voice, then maybe that's an option. Otherwise, always perfectly fine to practice in silence with the music of your own breath. And for some of us, that's just as lovely. So we're going to begin in child's pose for this sequence. And you can set up however you need to, with or without propping. We won't use a lot of props for this practice. So you might use a blanket for the pigeon pose, but otherwise you won't need a lot of propping. Knees are wide, feet are together and sitting back. And if the forehead coming down to the floor is too far, then just stack your fists or use some other prop to elevate the floor to find the right height for the forehead. We're going to stay here for 5 deep breaths, settling into our practice, into our breath, into our bodies, feeling the natural lengthening of the sacrum moving away from the skull, the spine extending, the pressure of the thighs against the front body, supporting the breath, finding its way into your back body. A spaciousness opening up between the back ribs. A settling of the nervous system when we're in the singular curvature of the spine, which is why we call this pose child's pose. It's the same shape the spine was in utero. It puts us back in that very wordless, protected, quiet, nourished space. I'm just enjoying the nourishment of this pose. Really great way to set a certain mood for your practice. We're going to bring the pose into the side version. So if your hands are tucked under you, we're going to extend the arms, but we don't need to necessarily put the forehead down. So extend your arms forward and start to walk hands to the right. And you may need to lift yourself up a little bit to come over the right thigh. And even with the head lifted, try to float the ears a little bit lower, maybe between the arms, try to extend the neck. And you're going to take it as far to the right as you need to find a big opening to the left side body. And guide your breaths gently into the left side body. Try to anchor back into the left hip so that it's not following the energy of the left arm. It's doing its own thing, acting like an anchor. And then begin on an in-breath to walk yourself back to center. And then keep going, moving it to the other side. Always finding these little openings in the body, welcoming the breath, welcoming or excusing, I should say, tension with the exhale. Not only are we inviting space on the in-breath, we're excusing tension on the out-breath. And on an inhale, again, walk yourself back to center and bring yourself onto your hands and knees, coming into table pose. We're going to do a sequence of cat, cow, kidney squeeze, and barrel rolls, but instead of doing them all separately, we're going to put them all together. So the cat pose is rounding, the cow pose is arching, wagging your tail left, wagging your tail right for the kidney squeeze, and then circling one full rotation of a barrel roll. And then again, cat pose, cow pose. Wagging your tail left, wagging your tail right, barrel roll, like you're inside of a side turn jar of peanut butter, scraping it out with your own body. Couple more of these. Cat pose, exhale. Cow pose, inhale. Wagging your tail left, wagging your tail right, and then barrel roll, one complete circle. And last one. Good. Barrel roll. Big range of motion. Wonderful. Come back to a neutral spine table when you've completed, and you'll send your right leg back behind you. Resting on the instep, lining the foot up with the left foot, shifting weight to your left arm, bring your right arm up. And then see if you can pin the left shoulder blade in toward the chest, taking that top arm back a bit farther to encourage the chest to really open. And then keeping it there, take your hand to the back of the head, press your head into your hand, take the elbow tip back and get a little bit more open. Re-extend the arm, keeping the chest open, and start to circle the arm. Nice, slow, steady circles. And the next time the arm comes around and is next to your ear, you're going to leave it there. And just notice how you get such an opening to the right side body here. Keep turning the chest toward the ceiling. Give it your breath. Try to be present here. Enjoying the physical experience. And then come back to a nice stacked arm. You can bring the hand to your hip. We're going to sit down on the left buttock. You're going to come into a yin twist here. Normally I am teaching opposite at this point, but because of the way I've sequenced things, I'm not going to appear to be doing it the same side as you are. So I'm going to be saying the side that you're doing, but I'm going to appear to be doing it oppositely. Hope that makes sense. So we're going to come into a yin twist, meaning you're not going to be upright. You're going to be kind of more slanted toward the floor with a little bit more support. So you're going to walk the hands out in front of you and just start to walk your hands back. The legs can be passive, kind of bent and off to the side, and keep a lot of pressure in your hands and bow the head. And after some time in the twist, you're going to notice that you get a signal from your body just to keep going. And you might also notice that you don't get the signal, which you also want to honor. So be where you are, be where you need to be. Corkscrewing the spine gently. The hip that's against the floor, the left hip, there's contact there. For most of us, we can kind of avoid that. But I welcome you to encourage the contact, to kind of really dig into the floor, because it is a nice opportunity to break up connective tissue in that area. We all carry a lot of tension in the outer hips and buttock. So it's a nice opportunity to just kind of dig into that opportunity and breathe into it. Keeping the same pressure in your hands, you're going to start to lengthen out. So also try to keep a line of energy through the crown of the head. So you're encouraging the spine to remain extended, and you're going to bring yourself all the way around to face now your right leg for a yin version of Janu Shirshasana. And if you're not familiar with yin, it's a little bit more of a passive style of yoga that uses the shape and gravity. It's more focused on bone than muscle. We won't get into all of it, but I'm going to do a few yin poses today. So you're going to take your left arm up, extend it toward the right outer foot or outer leg, whatever you can grab. And then you're going to slide the back of the right hand back. You're resting on the back of the right hand. You're kind of feeling like a slumped over rag doll. That is the idea. So lastly, your left ear is going to face your right knee, and you're just going to hang and surrender. Hopefully you're getting a nice little tingly, warm feeling to your left lower back. You should feel entirely passive here. Try to drop your shoulders. Welcome the easy breath flow. Every exhale, notice that you're kind of closing in on your leg, but you're not striving for it. That's another piece of yin. We don't strive. That's a different class. So just leaning into the next 3 exhalations. And when you finish the next one, you're just going to drag both hands kind of closer to your hips. You're going to once again turn back around, and we're going to set up a pigeon pose now with the left leg as the crossing leg. The blanket might get tucked under left hip if you need some support. And you'll begin arching your back and really trying to encourage and welcome the space of the torso. Take a few breaths there. And when you come to the top of the next inhalation, carry the length forward. Make the same little pedestal for your forehead so that you don't have to dunk your head to get to the floor. And then rest. Walk the right leg back as needed. Inch the left shin forward as needed. And try to surrender. Your pose will really benefit the quieter you can make yourself, which is part of the reason that we ground the forehead. It helps us surrender. Guiding those breaths gently into your left hip. We're going to deepen the experience. So if you know that you don't need more, you can stay here. If you'd like more, you're going to drop your right elbow in front of your left knee, taking your hands to prayer position. And then to make this really effective and nice and twisty and bendy and juicy, attempt to pressurize right elbow to align your forearms to be one continuous line, to bring your thumb and breastbone closer together and to look left. Finishing an inhale, you can exhale your way out of the twist and move your blanket aside if you used one. We're going to press out into a little bit of a flow sequence here. So I want you to start the flow sequence just by curling right toes under, hovering your shin nearest your wrists. Then you're going to put your foot into tree pose shape on your right thigh. Then you're going to keep your knee bent and shoot back into down dog. Then you're going to curl your hips to the left, peeking under your left arm. And then you're going to go back to down dog, back to tree, foot to the thigh, back to hovering the shin toward the wrists. We'll do it one more time. Tree pose, down dog with bent knee, turning to the left, turning out of it, extend the leg and take the toes down. Place your knees, widen your knees, and sit back. We're back where we began. Forehead is supported. Extend your arms forward. We're going to bring the side child into a side child twist for side 2. So we'll come into the same sequence to the opposite side. Starting by walking hands to your right, lifting your torso as much as you need to clear and bring the chest onto the thigh. We're going to hook the left elbow outside the right knee and then step that right hand farther out. And now you have a setup that will help you push into the floor and revolve the trunk, corkscrew the spine, tailbone all the way to the crown of the head. Pinning the arm against the leg to really help you clear that left armpit chest that gets kind of stuck or caught in the background. One more big inhale. Exhale to release, extend the arms, make your way to and through center. Keep going. Clearing the thigh, placing the chest, hooking the right arm outside the left leg, palming the hand down, stepping your other hand farther out, and then using the placement of your hands to help you turn and spiral the trunk to the left. Finishing an exhalation, inhale, lengthen out of it, crawling back to center. Coming into hands and knees table, and adjust the knees back in hip distance wide. So we don't want them wide as child. Swing the feet out as wide as knees. So we're back to the cat-cow, kidney squeeze, barrel roll sequence. So as you're ready, come into cat pose. Exhale. Inhale. Take your hips right. Take your hips left. Barrel roll. One big complete circle. Come back to center. Cat pose, exhale. Inhale. Right, left. Barrel roll. One complete circle. Two more of those. Cat, cow. Right, left. Barrel roll. Last one. Exhale. Inhale. Right, left. Round the barrel. All the way back. Make your way back to neutral spine table and send your left leg straight back, aligning the instep with the right toes so they intersect if they were connected. Shifting your weight to the right, taking the top arm up and letting the hand fall back to open the chest. And to build off of that, take your hand to the back of the head, press the head into the hand, take the elbow tip back. See if you can get that chest any amount more in the sunlight. Keeping it there, re-extend the arm, and now start those circles. Big, slow, steady circles. The next time your arm aligned with your ear, leave it there and welcome the big breaths to the right side body. Keep the chest curling toward the ceiling. Nice breaths. Good. Realign the top arm. Take your hand to your hip. Come down to seated on your right butt, left butt, legs off to the side. Place your hands to either side of the right knee, walk them forward. And then start to walk your hands back. So one of the key ingredients here in this yin twist is pressurizing the hands. And with every inhale, lengthen through the top of the head. And as you get that inner cue, walk on. Revolve the trunk more. Premature twisting is a way to get injured, so you have to listen for that cue. If you don't know, just stay where you are. And if that gets boring, take a little micro movement, see what happens. Bow the head. Walk on, last 3 breaths. Eventually you can see the bottom of one of your feet. Maybe not today. Keeping your hands heavy, begin to walk back and out of it. All the way around until you're all the way turning and facing your left leg. You're on your buttocks and your right knee is bent in for the yin version of head to knee pose. Raise the right arm. Reach out for the outer foot. It's okay if you don't make it that far. You can grab the outer shin, ankle, leg, whatever. This left hand slides back. You're resting on the back of the hand, which drops the shoulder. It forces the shoulder to surrender. And then lastly, right ear towards left knee. So once you have all that, you're going to let go. You're going to be passive like a rag doll, like you're made of cotton. Each breath, you go deep diving toward your leg, but not because you're striving. A lot of times we are we're conducive to opening in the body when we're surrendered. Sometimes the effort, we get in our own way. So just let this be a passive but deeply opening experience. And maybe that warm, tingly sensation you're noticing now on the right lower back. We'll stay 3 more exhales. After this one, just kind of drag your hands closer to your center body and stack your spine. We're going to start to make our way back around for the pigeon pose. This time your right knee is bent. You're going to try to set yourself up with your hips even. So in other words, we're not rotating right hip forward or lower than left. They're even. Think about headlights on your hips being equal. And then come up onto the hands to open the chest. And again, you might need to fill that gap between right hip and buttock in the floor. Top of the in-breath, move from that point, exhale forward. Place the forehead. And settle in, making any minor adjustments that you need, fine-tuning. But then really check in with areas that might be holding back. BKS Iyengar, one of the teachers, the teacher I study his teachings, he said, look for places in the body with a closed fist. So places that are resistant, that are kind of shut down to the unified experience that we're seeking. Maybe it's the left hip flexor, maybe it's your right hip, maybe it's somewhere less obvious, like your shoulders, your jaw. Maybe there's a little cramp in your back. So just kind of explore the interior body with your awareness. And twisting, if you'd like a little bit more here, option to twist left elbow in front of right knee, propping on that elbow, pressurize the hands together in prayer pose and try to align your forearms and bring your breastbone and thumb together. I meant to say thumbs, plural. So we get a twist here, we get a little psoas opener, we also get a deeper hip opener. You may not need all this. And at the top of an inhale, next exhale, start to come out of the twist. We're all going to remove the blanket, prop the hands underneath us. We're going to come into the flow sequence of the shin near the wrist, the tree pose, the bent knee, down dog, and repeat it a couple of times. So curl your left toe under, pose, float the shin near the wrist to begin, then move to tree pose, then keeping the knee bent, your downward dog, and then curling the hips open to the right. Look under your right arm. Back to a closed hip position, tree pose, shin toward the wrists.
Once more, tree pose. Downward dog with bent knee. Opening that dog. Closing up that dog. Extend the leg. Take your toes down. Place your knees. And come back to child's pose. And you stay for 5 breaths. From your child's pose, align your entire right side body to the front edge of your mat. For Anatasana, you'll prop your head with your hand. Line yourself up from the elbow all the way to the heels, so you're on one straight line. And then you're going to bend the top leg knee and place your foot for tree pose. Reach out through that bottom elbow, press the tree pose knee back. Try to keep your weight over the right hip point. And then from here, hook the big toe with your fingers, extend the leg. You can't grab the toe, grab the back of the leg. And then you're going to keep holding the leg and move on to your back for Padangusthasana. If you can hold the foot, great. Otherwise, hold the back of your leg. Stay for 5 breaths. We're going to come back into Anatasana. So carry the leg with you, prop your head again, be on the side body again. Come back to your tree pose shape. Good. Go ahead and extend the leg out. Shift onto your back and hug your legs in. Make your way to your side, and you're going to switch over to resting the entire length of the left side body on the front edge of the mat. Extend the arm underneath you first to try to really close the gapping in the armpit. Prop your head. Activate the bottom leg, just kind of keeping it straight and the foot flexed. We're going to take the leg into tree pose. As you take the knee back, try to tip your weight forward on that bottom hip. We tend to fall onto the buttock. So if you can drive the knee back slightly, it'll keep your weight forward, it'll keep you balanced or more balanced. And then we're going to extend the leg now, either grabbing the foot or somewhere to the back of the leg. Extend the leg. Fully straighten the leg. And with nice control, see if you can move on to your back body for Padangusthasana. You can use your hand lower on the leg if you need to. So it's fun to see that sometimes our poses are the very same poses, but because they're in a different orientation in space and in the gravity field, they have different names, because obviously it'll have a different effect on the body. So from here, come back to your side, prop your head, and place your foot back in the tree pose shape. Driving the knee back. Trying to keep yourself really centered over the outer left hip. Good. And now release onto your back. Hug your legs in. Separate your knees. Reach through the space between your legs. Grab your big toes or your ankles. And then stacking your shins so they're vertical. Pull down. This is a static version of happy baby pose, where one day, someday, the top thighs will touch the floor. So keeping the top thighs as close to the floor as they are now, begin to gently rock one foot at a time to center, which gives you a nice moment of just kind of freedom in the body to explore anything else that's talking to you or wants to speak up before we come into Shavasana. So it's a nice way to just make final inquiry and address anything that wants to move before we come into stillness, so that it's not nagging at us in our time of seeking that deep peace that comes from yoga. You can let go, join the knees, and as you're ready, make your way into Shavasana. If there's any other movements that need to happen, of course, take care of them. Take some time with the alignment. Make sure the shoulders move in and up. The outer upper arms come down. Your buttock flesh is pulled away from the lower back toward the lower buttocks. Your head is supported, or the chin is tilted down on its own without the support. So paradoxically, we use movement to find stillness. The body is considered to be inert. The mind is considered to be hyperactive. So to bring balance, or a sattvic state is the word, a balanced state, we have to make the body more active to make the brain less active. So Shavasana, it's a chance to feel a little closer to that balance. Just taking some slow, deep breaths that don't create any strain, but that feel a little fuller and deeper than your normal unconditioned breathing. Feel free to stay in Shavasana, or you can make your way out now. From the place within me that I know to be divine, I honor that place within you. Namaste.